So let's begin the lecture. In the last lecture, we have seen that what kind of Unix process states model, how many states of Unix process when it comes into the primary memory. So we have seen there are total 8 number of states, and each state we have already discussed. Now in this lecture, we will discuss a single process can have a multiple threads. A small instances which are currently activated in a single process. So today's lecture is based on threads. A new instance is called threads, or we can say any instance which are currently running in the process is called threads. So it is a very lightweight process, we can say, and number of threads can have a single process. So there are difference between process and threads also. We have already discussed on process and program. Now we comes into the process and we start discuss depth in the process, and we seen in the later on that we have so many threads in a single process. Whenever we start any applications, so many threads are currently working in a single process. So let's begin the lecture. Threads. So this is our lecture number 9. Topic which we are going to cover in this lecture is what is threads. First we will discuss the basic definition of thread functionality, what they do perform, what is the function of threads, we will discuss in this topic. Why use threads? Now third topic will tell us the significance of thread, types of threads, how many types of threads, user level threads and kernel level threads. We have already discussed U area and kernel area in the previous section. So you understand there are two types of threads also, user threads and kernel thread. Then we will discuss some advantages of threads, some disadvantages of threads, and advantages of multi-threads. If a computer system perform multi-threading, we know that there is another kind of operating system is called multi-threading, when two or more threads are continuously work in a primary memory. So we will discuss multi-thread also. Then we will look at the advantages of multi-threading. So these are the topics which we are going to cover in this lecture. So basic definitions, if we talk about the thread, what is thread? A thread is a sequence of execution within the process. Suppose we are running a single process and that process running by a continuously number of sequences. For example, if you are running a VLC applications, if you are running a VLC application or media application which play our video and audio songs, so you have observed that in the single VLC media player there are so many functioning worked simultaneously. That means there are so many threads worked simultaneously in the single VLC media player. So one thread is deal with the progress bar, another thread deal with the timer, which tells us how's the size of the our songs and videos. Another threads which deals with the equalizer, bass, treble. Another threads which deals with the next songs which are selected from the queue. That means in a single VLC media player applications, there are lot of threads working simultaneously. VLC media player, when we start the VLC media player or any media player, that is become a single process. But if we talk about the thread, that means a single instance is called thread, or single lightweight process is called thread. So we can say a thread is a sequence of execution within a process. Threads always created by a single process. It does not have its own address space. The second important thing about the thread, when it comes into the primary memory by a single process, by any process, it does not occupy any address space. That means it is directly belonging to the memory address space which are referred to a process. So that means if a VLC is open in a primary memory, VLC occupied some space in a primary memory, and some threads are created by VLC media player application. That means that thread is also referred to the same memory address. So in this way we can say it does not have its own address space, but uses the memory and other resources of process in which it creates or execute. So all the threads which are related to the VLC media player, that refers to the same memory address which are created or designed by the VLC application. So threads does not have its own address space. The second statement tells to us that threads does not occupy any address space. Now the third statement tells us threads are sometimes called lightweight process. It is not a heavy process. VLC media player is completely a heavy process, contains so many threads working simultaneously in a primary memory. So if we talk about a single thread of a VLC media player, that thread or a single instance is called thread. That's why we can say it is a lightweight process, because it is just an instance of a process. It is not a whole process, because it deal with the small function, a small part of the process. That's why it is a lightweight process. Now fourth is threads independently scheduled parts of a single program. We will look at in the next incoming lecture that there are so many scheduling required to manage multi processes, right? If you talk about a multi user environment, multi program environment, there are so many programs, there are so many processes currently running in primary memory by individual users, right? So somehow we have to manage all the programs, all the process in the primary memory. So we need some scheduling algorithms, we need some scheduler which deals with the different process and different programs currently running in primary memory. But if we talk about the threads, it is independently scheduled part of a single program, right? It scheduled automatically by itself. There is no need for any scheduling, there is no need for any scheduler which deals with the threads. But of course, if we have a multiple process in a primary memory, we need a scheduler. But if we have a number of threads in a single process, we need not any scheduler, or we need not any scheduling algorithms. So the fourth statement about a thread will tells us threads independently scheduled part of a single program. So threads are automatically scheduled by a process. Now fifth statement, threads can be assigned priorities. As we already talked about priorities, It is an integer number. It belongs to 0 to 5. 0 indicates higher priority and 5 indicates lower priority. So in the same way, as we assign a priority number to a process, we can assign a priority number to a threads also. Lower number indicates higher priority and higher number indicates lower priority. And the number belongs 0 to 5. So if any process occupied 0 as a priority attributes, that means that process having higher priority. CPU will allocate first and CPU will execute that process first. And suppose if any process which assign a priority 5, what does it mean? That higher number define lower priority. That means CPU will deals with that process after the end of the process. So as we assign a priority attribute, priority number to a process, similarly we can assign priority number to a threads also. So threads can be assigned priorities. Higher priority threads will get put to the front of the queue and lower priority threads will get at the end of the queue. So these are some basics, definitions and introduction about the threads. You can choose any one or two definition, whatever you convenient, whatever is easy for you. You can select any two statement as a definition of thread. So this is all about threads in operating system. So in general, we can say threads is nothing. It is an active entity. It always designed by a process. A single process can have a multiple threads and it always deals with a single part of a process. It is a lightweight process. It is scheduled independently and we can assign a priority to threads. Now, let's talk about threads functionality. What they do. The first function of thread is thread states. As we already discussed about the states of a process, we have already seen that process can have 5 different states in their life cycle. Right, from its beginning to its zombie state or terminated its state, it can have a 5 different state. Other operating system can have a number of states, like Unix operating system or Linux operating system can have total 8 state of a single process. But thread always belongs in 5 different states. So whenever thread is created by a process, it belongs to a new state. After completing the input output operations, it goes to the ready state. Ready state contain a queue which provide the spaces to a thread. Now when it is ready to execute, it goes to a running state. In the running state, CPU will allocate to a thread. Threads will execute itself. Then if there is no requirement, there is no input output requirement, there is no interrupt or any event which might be break the sequence, break the execution of the threads, then it will goes to the terminated state. If due to any problem, due to any event occurs during the execution, it might goes to the suspended state or awaited state. So as we discussed in the process life cycle, similarly threads also having 5 different states. It can belongs to a new state, it can belongs to a ready state, then running, then terminated, then Okay. The second functionality of thread is thread synchronization. Am I audible to all of you? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Screen is visible?
Yes, sir.
Screen is
Yes,
visible
sir.
to everyone? All right.
Yes, sir.
Right. Now the second function of thread is thread synchronization. So whenever we talk about the order of threads or order of process, that is a terms introduced is called synchronization. If more than one threads work simultaneously inside the process, so somehow we need to manage all the threads inside the process. So this kind of management of multiple threads in a single process is called thread synchronization. For example, in a VLC player, it can have different threads. One thread which works on management of sound, like equalizer, bass, treble, right? One thread which manage list of songs and update it automatically. Whenever the currently song is end up, it will select a new songs from the ready queue. So this is the task of thread. Now another thread which manage process of running songs, it time duration. That means it can have number of threads. So this is called a thread synchronization. So if more than one threads currently work simultaneously inside a single process, then somehow we need to manage all the thread inside the process. And this kind of management is called thread synchronization. So these are two functionality of threads, thread states and thread synchronization. Now the third topic is why use threads. We have already process, we have already concept of process in operating system. We can create a process by using fork system call. Operating system can also create a new process by using fork system call. User can also create by calling some function, by calling some procedure, and fork system call can also applicable for the user also. So what is the need of thread? Using thread, it is possible to organize the execution of a program in such a way that something is always being done. So the major significance by threads is providing a better utility and providing better throughput of operating system. That means if you want to get a larger throughput or larger utilization of CPU, somehow we need to create number of thread in a primary memory. If we create so many threads in a primary memory, that means we always provide CPU to do something, right? If CPU continuously work or it continuously execute the programs, that means there are greater throughput, we can say. So for increasing the utilization of CPU, to increasing the throughput of the system, we need a concept is called threads. So by using threads concept, we can utilize and we can get a greater throughput of overall system. Whenever scheduler gives the heavyweight process to the CPU, programmer has control over the threads. Inside the heavy weight process, threads are scheduled on FCFS manner. We will discuss in the later incoming lecture. Some scheduling policies are there which are used by the operating system to schedule processes. FCFS is one of them. First come, first serve, shortage of first, round robin, shortest remaining time next, multi-level feedback queue. These are some scheduling algorithms which are scheduled to a process, right? Because currently operating system is multi-user operating system. So many users can interact with the operating system simultaneously, and each and every user can run our applications and program more than one. So in thread concept, there are programmer which control over the threads. And if more than threads designing in a single process, then all threads will be managed by a FCFS manner. That's why the terms specify that inside the heavyweight process, threads are scheduled on FCFS manner. Switching of thread context is not based on kernel. It's depend upon user or programmer who creates the threads. We already discussed about the context of a process, right? If a single process which are designed by calling a fork system call, it can have its own text region, data region, and stack region. Now all three region design the context of the process. And if due to any event, if we transfer that process from one memory location to other memory locations, it may be some different location of primary memory, or it may be location of secondary memory. So whenever we need to swap out a single process, all the context of the process will transfer from one location to other location, right? In the same way, the switching of thread context is also possible, but it is not based on kernel. It's totally depend upon the user or programmer who creates the threads. Because in a multi-threading environment, user can create so many threads by using programming language, like you can use Java and .NET. These are the fourth generation language which are allowed to user to design multiple threads by using programming. And you can assign a priority column, priority attribute also to a threads. So switching of thread context is not based on the kernel. It's depend upon user or programmer who creates threads. To make better utilization of CPU and getting better throughput from the CPU, we refer threads. Now these two lines tells us why we need to design a threads. Just we want to better utilization of CPU, and we want to get a better throughput from the CPU. And we have already discussed about throughput. If more than one process execute in a single unit, it is called throughput. So we want to get better throughput from CPU. Now the next topic is types of threads. One process can have one threads. One process can have multiple threads. Multiple process has a single thread, and multiple process has each multiple threads. So based on this criteria, we can have four different threads. One process, one thread, one process, multiple threads, multiple process and each having a single thread, multiple process and each having multiple threads. One to one, one to many, many to one, and many to many. Now based on this scenario, single threading and multi-threading concept comes into the picture. Single threading, that means operating system which deals with a single thread. Process can have a single thread only. This concept is called single threading. And if process can have a multiple thread, like we have already discussed VLC media player example, how the different part handle with different threads. So this is the best example of multi-threading. So multi-threading, more than one threads work simultaneously in a single process. So let's discuss on single threading. There is a single PCB. Whenever a single threads design by the operating system, there is only single process control block. We have already seen that what is process control block and what kind of information and functionality it can provide to the CPU. It can have a different 9 characteristics which is required to CPU for complete the execution of a process or a thread. So similarly, a single thread can have a single PCB, process control block, which contain all the required detail of thread. There is a single user address space. There is a single user stack. And there is a single kernel stack. So these are 4 statements tells us about a single threading, what it can have. So it can have a single PCB, single user address space, single user stack, and single kernel stack. Now, multi-threading. Operating systems support concept of multi-threading in which more than one part of instance of a single process can be executed in a primary memory section. This concept is called multi-threading. Multi stands for more than, and threading, that means threads which are currently active in a single process. This is called threading. So more than one thread can have a single process and it is executed in a primary memory. That concept of operating system is called multi-threading. Advantages of threads. First, economy. Second, resource sharing. Third, responsiveness. Economy means less time to create a new threads. Like we can have a greater time to create a new process, but because it is a part of process, that means it can have a less time to create, less time to terminate than a process, less time to switch between two threads within the same process, but we can have a greater time to shift the context of a single process from one location to other location. So economically it is good. Less time to create a new thread, less time to terminate, less time to shift. Resource sharing means better resource management. Resource which managed by threads very easily, like memory is one kind of resource, can be handled very easily by the threads. It can also share the files. It can also share memory address. We have already talked about that threads cannot have its own memory locations. It cannot have own memory address space. It refers to the same memory which are referring by the process because it is a part of process. Now the third is responsiveness. Still in working even one thread dead. Suppose there are 4 threads currently active in a single process and one is dead due to some event. But still there are 3 threads which are working properly. So due to a one thread dead, there is no the crash of applications. The application will work properly. So this is the responsiveness. Now disadvantage of threads, shared state may be global data structure damage. We have already discussed that the data structure is globally shared with process So in the shared states, it might be possible that a global data structure might damage. Lack of robustness, crash in one thread will crash in the entire process. Suppose if one thread is dependent on other, so it might possible that if a crash of one thread will crash the entire process. But if the threads are not connected to each other, if it functioning is not dependent to each other, then there is no lack of robustness. So this becomes the disadvantage. If crash is in one thread, then the entire process can crash also. Now lack of synchronization, blocking state can be reduced. Less overhead occurs in execution. Security, less security as compared to process. Advantages of multi-threads. Why we use multi-threading, or why operating system support multi-threads. So improve application responsiveness, use multiprocessor more efficiently, improve program structure, use fewer system resources because it provides the resource sharing system. So by using multi-threading, we can improve the program structure. In program, we can design so many threads. We can assign the priority. In this way, we can improve the program structure. Multiple part of a single program we can execute by using multi-thread. If we use the multi-threading in our applications, it can have a better responsiveness, right? And the level of thread is user level threads and kernel level threads. And the types of thread or level of threads in the next lecture, we will discuss in depth what is user level thread and what is kernel level threads, how they design and what is the function of user level threads, how it is managed, and how the kernel level threads design and how it is managed. So we will discuss in the next lecture, user level thread and kernel level thread. So this is about the today's lecture content. Revise all the lecture properly. If you have any doubt, write on your notebook and ask in the next lecture. So in the today's lecture, we have discussed what is threads, functionality of thread, why we need to design a thread and why we use threads, types of threads, advantage of threads, disadvantage of threads, and advantage of multi-threads.